Hello everyone, hope you're all doing well. I know many of you are going through the challenges of OCD and HOCD and all other subsets of OCD, and in particular in the past we've talked about many different tangents of understanding OCD and HOCD and so on, and we've got big playlists: intrusive, transient, OCD, HOCD, negative thoughts, and then we have another playlist which talks about the relationship between brain, you, and thoughts, and discusses that in a playlist called Intrusive OCD, HOCD short videos. Mind you, not all of them are short. My intention is to bring to your attention that you gotta wake up, that you can't be duped by suggestions of the brain because they have no credibility. And this is why I want to make this video, to bring your attention to something that you all can easily understand, but somehow you don't focus on it and you get bamboozled by the behavior of the brain and suggestions of the brain, and you forget about the merits of how something can exist and why something that doesn't exist cannot have anything to do with threatening you in any way, shape, or form, let alone suggesting to have anything to do with changing your sexual inclination or your gender or modifying it in any shape or form. You are how you've been born and created, and that's how it's going to be the rest of your life, whatever your gender is. So you should have no worries about any changes coming to your gender, the actuality of you, just because a thought has popped up. Look, if you have a piece of rock, let's say you're walking on the shore line of somewhere, some beach, and you find a piece of rock. Now this imaginary piece of rock, but let's say it's not imaginary, it's a real piece of rock. I don't know, I don't have a rock here. But if you have a real rock in your hand, how can you add to it? Well, obviously, first, in order to want to add to it, make it bigger, you got to understand how it is come to be what it is. Well, that rock is made out of lots of little pieces of rock, right? Same material. And those small pieces of rocks are made from smaller pieces of rocks. The powder of it, right? And eventually, that same actual material that exists in physicality has been accumulated and has become the rock that you're holding. So this rock really is the result of the past accumulation of small pieces of rock that has become to be this. The effects of actual nature has created this rock by adding to it what needed to be added to become what it is. So this rock is the past. Through the past, actual events and actions of the past, today this rock is what it is. So it needs actuality and physicality, an actual thing to add to this rock. But that means if I think that I want to have a bigger rock, thought pops up into my head and suggests that this rock is going to be bigger, but there is no action or there is no actual same smaller fragments of this rock in the form of, I don't know, powder or small amounts of it is not here to be added to it to make this rock bigger. But my thought says this rock can change into bigger rock, or it can change into smaller rock, or it can change into a fish. Pretty far-fetched, right? We all understand that cannot be done because there is no actual physical material, or there is no actuality to this idea, suggestion, to turn something that has actuality to be changed or modified or become bigger or turn into something else. Right? So we dismiss the idea of thinking this rock to become a fish or thinking this rock to become bigger because the idea came to our mind and we are focused on that idea. We know it's bogus. It doesn't happen. It's very easy for us to understand this. And we understand that this rock is the past. Through the past history, this rock has become from the actions of actualities and happenings of the past with physicalities and material, and all that past has come to become past changes, actual physical changes. This material, this rock has become what it is. So an action in the past, many actions in the past resulted into what this actuality of the physical substance be here. And I cannot change it by just having a suggestion in my brain coming up to say this is going to be a fish or this is going to be bigger right now or tomorrow. It's a thought. There is no actuality or action or physicality or material in the thought. It's just a thought, a suggestion. And we know that can't make any changes in this rock in any way, shape, or form. It's very clear to us. Then how is it that when a pop-up of intrusive thought shows up, that you, an actual person, with a thought that has no actual material or actuality, can be changed from your whatever your gender sexuality is to some other gender because a thought is now playing with the idea and suggestion, and therefore this actual physical actuality of you should then be changed. Is it possible? Is it it's no different than what we talked about the rock? Because you have an actuality, physicality and actuality. Just as the thought cannot turn that rock into a fish or change it into a bigger rock, because the suggestion, the idea is here, as powerful as the brain is to make you believe that, but in reality and actuality, it cannot be that rock. It's not going to turn to fish. No matter how powerful your brain is, and that rock is not going to get bigger, no matter how powerful your brain is, and what conjures up, and what images and suggestions show up and pop up in it. You're clear that. Same thing with you. You have actuality. You come from the past. You are the past. Through the past history, through what actions you have registered, experiences and actions, you are the past. You are therefore that. Let alone the actuality or your physicality, that nothing can change that. We've talked about in the other videos, because you're born and created in a certain way, and that's how it's going to be the rest of your life. Doesn't matter what the thoughts pops up. That's the actual physicality having to do with the chromosomes and the way the kidney and the liver and so on is put together and created. That's not going to change, right? Because a thought showed up. If that was the case, then we say, okay, I'll have 2 livers, please. Won't happen. I want my liver to change into kidney. Can we have that? Well, it won't happen. But I thought of it. Well, it doesn't matter. The actuality of things in your body, in your biology, doesn't change because you thought that you should now have 3 kidneys, or you should have 2 hearts, or you should have half a liver or double the liver. We know that, right? But when it comes to a thought telling us that you are a heterosexual but you're going to be gay, you get bamboozled. Because you think thought has any control on your sexuality, rather than focusing on the fact that your gender and sexuality is about chromosomes behavior and what type of chromosomes was chosen in creating you in the womb of your mother. Suddenly you forget about all that necessary process to create your kidney or your liver or your heart or your gender or genitalia, And suddenly you think the thought of it can turn the rock into fish, can turn you to something else, can turn the rock into a bigger rock, can turn your gender into a different gender. Aren't we forgetting something? There is a need for physical actuality, actions changing that rock to become a bigger rock. And that cannot be done because that only happens when you're being created in your mother's womb based on the design that is set for you. But now you say, no, my brain can actually change my gender. Well, if that brain, as powerful as it is, can change the actuality of things, then why don't we bring people who actually would like to have certain kind of a change in their abilities, like, I don't know, they want to have 3 legs, or maybe they want to have 5 kidneys, or maybe they want to have 2 heads, and we have the power of the brain bring that result. Why is it that it should be limited to the idea of that, oh, the brain, the thought popping up, intrusive thoughts, can actually change your gender, but it can't change something else that you want changing your body? I mean, there are many people in the world that want to lose, their fat, so why don't they think it away? Or maybe they want to change the shape of their body to become really fit. Why don't they just thought it and make that to be an intrusive thought? And then why don't you think that is a possibility? But when it comes to your sexuality and a thought of homosexuality hits a heterosexual, or a thought of heterosexuality hits a homosexual, they get bamboozled that, oh wow, that might be possible. No, it's not possible, as it is not possible for the brain thought showing up and changing anything else in you. Because you are the past, and past is recorded in your memory. But the only thing that can be recorded in your memory is actions that happened in the past, not thoughts that happened in the past. If you notice, you don't have any thought that is memorized as part of your memory. Yes, you may remember what you were thinking, but you also many times say, oh, I don't remember what I was thinking. Because thinking, thought that has no root, that's not rooted in actions, they've never had an actuality attached to it, they've never turned into action, they're not recorded as a registered part of you. You're the past, and the past is accumulation of a bunch of actions that has happened and that has been recorded in your memory. Hence, you are the memory. Memory is the past, and you are the past. But this past, this memory, has to have been an action into memory. You don't register, you don't record thoughts. You record actions. That's what we are. We record 24/7. We record everything, as long as there are actions. So these images and thoughts and suggestions, they come and go, and they affect you while you remember them. They don't affect you when you don't remember them. But if you turn out to believe something that doesn't exist, like a thought, like a suggestion, like an image that shows up in the screen of your head, and based on the fact that the image you could be able to imagine, see, that's the mechanism of the brain, then you think that image, because was able to be created, therefore has actuality. No, the image has no actuality. It's still a thought, it's still an image, it's still a non-existence. You cannot, just because you thought of something or you see an image, you think of it as it replacing any action or actuality. We are actions of the past, not thoughts of the past. We are the past. Whatever has been happening in the history in our lives, history of our life, that's what we are. What we are today is because of the past. And all that past has been recorded because they were actions, not because they were suggestions or images. That is not what we are. We are only the actions that have been recorded. And when an intrusive thought shows up, that has no action. Its roots is not rooted in any action. It's just an image, idea, suggestion, a pop-up thought. That is not part of the past. Past is recorded in the memory when it was an action. And you are the past. That means you are the actions of the past. So a thought that shows up, it has no action. It's a thought. It can never be part of you. It's never been part of the past. And if you're the past and thoughts have never had an action to have an actuality, therefore they have never been in existence in the form of action, and you are the actions of the past. So thoughts can never be you, they have never been you, and they will never ever be you because they have no existence, they have no actuality because they've never been an action, and you are accumulation of actions. Like that rock, you're made out of lots of actions of the past. The substance of a rock should be there before the rock can be bigger. And it can't change to something else because you thought of it, because the materials are different. The same thing, you cannot be changed because a thought pops up, because pop has had no action, and you are the actions of the past. That's why we say you're the past. And thought is never the past. It shows up now, and it has no actuality, so it cannot be part of you or change you whatsoever in any shape or form. So when something doesn't exist in actuality, cannot change something that exists in actuality. I'm in actuality. Thought has no actuality, has no action. It's a suggestion, image, an idea, and suggestion, image, an idea that has no actuality or existence cannot change or modify something that has actuality and physical existence. Simple. Logic, physics, nothing to it. So intrusive thoughts, pop-up thoughts, images, suggestions that you will be different gender versus what you've always been, doesn't have any credibility, doesn't have any logic. Thought cannot change your gender. I'll talk to you soon.